Welcome, everyone, to the Real News Network. My name is Maximilian Alvarez. I'm the editor-in-chief here at The Real News, and it's so great to have you all with us. The Real News is an independent, viewer-supported, nonprofit media network. We don't take corporate cash, and we don't do ads, which means we need every one of you to become a supporter of our work so we can keep bringing you coverage of the voices and issues that you care about most. So please head on over to therealnews.com/support and become a donor today. Kevin Torres was beloved by his family and his community. After emigrating from Honduras decades ago, Torres built a life here in Baltimore. Until recently, he and his wife ran a concrete and construction company, along with raising a family. And in his spare time, Torres coached the Villanueva adult soccer team here in the city. In fact, Kevin was out with players, friends, and family late into the night on Sunday, November 6th, to celebrate the team winning their league championship. Then, in the blink of an eye, their lives were changed forever. As Leah Skeen, Darcy Costello, and Cassidy Jensen reported last month for the Baltimore Sun, quote, Kevin Torres was celebrating Sunday night after his soccer team finally claimed their league championship title. Surrounded by teammates and family, Torres spent hours at Christ Bar in Highlandtown. The mood was jovial until a dispute over a missing cell phone prompted a security guard to intervene. Torres got involved after seeing the officer arguing with his stepdaughter, according to witnesses. Moments later, Torres was dead. The security guard told Baltimore Police he discharged his gun early Monday morning because Torres threw a brick at him. But 3 witnesses disputed that account in interviews with the Baltimore Sun. Quote, they killed my husband like an animal, said Sor Torres, who helped organize a protest Tuesday night in Highlandtown that drew about 100 people. Enough is enough. The security guard has not been arrested, and officials declined to release his name. Police spokesman Detective Donnie Moses said he believes the guard was working independently for the bar and was not an off-duty police officer. End quote. A GoFundMe has been set up to help Kevin's family pay for funeral costs, and we've linked to that GoFundMe in the description of this video. And the family and their supporters are planning a march to demand justice for Kevin this Thursday, December 8th, at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The march will begin at 4020 East Lombard Street in Baltimore, and all supporters are invited to attend. So what exactly happened on the night that Kevin Torres was killed at Christ Bar? And why do these killings at the hands of private security guards keep happening, not only in Baltimore, but around the country? And what can be done to secure justice for Kevin Torres and his family? To talk about all of this, I had the chance to sit down with some of Kevin's loved ones, including Sor Torres, Kevin's wife, Eric Vicente, Kevin's stepson, and Kevin Medina, a close friend of the family. Here's our interview recorded last week in the Real News studio. And I do want to warn viewers that this is understandably a very emotional interview, but I hope that people watch it, and I hope that you can help us make sure that Kevin's family story is known far and wide.
Good afternoon. I'm Sor Torres, Kevin Torres' wife.
Good afternoon. My name's Eric Vicente. I'm Kevin Torres' stepson.
I'm Kevin. Kevin Torres' friend.
Well, Kevin, Eric, Sor, thank you so much for coming down and sitting with us today. Muchísimas gracias por sentar conmigo hoy. And I wanted to say I'm incredibly sorry for your loss and incredibly grateful to you all for sitting down and sharing your story with us today. Now, there's been a little bit of coverage of Kevin's death in the local media, but it feels like a lot of details still aren't very clear for the public, and I wanted to ask if you all would be willing to sort of, talk our viewers and listeners through what happened earlier this month on that fateful night when Kevin was killed.
En la mañana del domingo fuimos al parque a jugar la final de la Liga Hispana de Baltimore, que tenemos un equipo de soccer llamado Villanueva.
Early Sunday morning, we went ahead. We started prepping ourselves to get ready to go to our finals at the Hispanic Soccer League for Baltimore. And our team was currently within the leagues. It's called Villanueva.
Jugamos el partido y quedamos campeones de la liga del 2022.
We played the tournament, and towards the end of the tournament, we ended up champions of the 2022 Hispanic League in Baltimore.
Después de la celebración y que terminó el partido, nos fuimos a celebrar al Chris Bar.
After the game was over and we finished celebrating on the field and gathering our things, we went ahead to Chris Bar to continue to celebrate our victory.
Durante la noche todo estaba tranquilo, estábamos amistades, familia, los jugadores y voy al baño.
Throughout the night, we went ahead. We were there with family, friends, and a lot of the team members were also there to celebrate the victory with us, and everything was calm. I went into the bathroom.
Y habían dos chicas en el baño y una me preguntó, ¿viste un celular que había aquí encima?
While I was in the restroom, two girls approached me and asked if I had seen a phone that was on top of the bathroom counter.
Le comenté a una de las muchachas que no, que yo acababa de entrar y seguí a usar el baño. Entre ellas estaban hablando y una le dice a la otra, yo te llamo, sal a ver si ves tu celular afuera.
I explained to them that I had not seen the cell phone, that I had just walked into the restroom, and I proceeded to use the restroom. And while I was using the restroom, I overheard them talking about what they were going to do, that one of them told the other that I was going to call you so that to see if you can find your phone, go on out of the bathroom and to see if you can find it.
Okay, el celular sonó dentro del baño y yo le dije a la chica que estaba en el baño que el celular era el que se estaba buscando, que yo le iba a dar el celular a la muchacha que era la que estaba compartiendo con mi hermano en donde estábamos celebrando.
Once she dialed the phone and the other girl walked out of the restroom, my mom overheard the girl called the phone, and my mother heard it while she was using the restroom and told her that was the phone that they were calling. And so my mom told her that she was going to go give it to the girl.
La muchacha me dijo que no, que yo me lo quería robar, que ella se lo iba a dar. Entonces yo le dije, ok, yo la voy a buscar para que tú se lo des frente de mí. Porque la muchacha estaba compartiendo con mi hermano toda la noche.
So she went into she went further to say that my mother wanted to steal the phone, that she didn't want to turn it into the other girl. And so my mom was like, okay, I'll have it, and you can give it to her, but I'm gonna go and get the girl so that you can give it to her in front of me, because it was the same girl that was spending time with my uncle throughout the night.
Busqué a la chica y ya la que tenía el celular no estaba en el baño. Y ella me dijo, ¿quién es? Enséñamela. Yo le dije, mira, ya la muchacha lo tiene. Entre ellas se pusieron a discutir por el celular. Y la muchacha se lo sacó del bolsillo y se lo dio a la dueña en su mano. Ahí comenzó el DJ a decir que se querían robar un celular y hablar cosas por él. Y fue donde todo empezó como a ponerse más tenso.
So at that moment, my mother went out to go get the girl, and once they went back towards the bathroom, the other girl that was waiting for her in the bathroom wasn't there anymore. So once the girl had asked my mother who this person was, what they looked like, and she explained to her that it was the same girl that she went into the bathroom with. And so she went over to the girl, and they started arguing over the phone. And at that moment, one of the DJs at Chris Bar started talking drama over the mic, that someone was trying to steal a phone, this, that, and the third. And so
Se subió la tensión.
and that's when things started to get a little tense in the area.
Llegaron a discutir y llegaron los securities, el dueño del bar y la muchacha que había agarrado el celular comenzó a decirle cosas a mi esposo.
At that moment, that's when the security guards and the owner of Chris Bar started coming onto the floor, and so this started the altercations. Once everybody was on the dance floor, the girl who had lost her phone started arguing with my stepfather.
No, la que agarró el celular.
Oh, the girl that took the phone, that had the phone on her, started arguing with my stepfather.
Mi hija que estaba ahí con nosotros se acercó a mi esposo y le dijo a la chica que se saliera de la cara de mi esposo y dejara de estarle diciéndole cosas. Y ahí fue cuando el security agarró por el brazo a mi hija.
At that moment, my daughter walked up to my husband and told the girl that was arguing with my husband that she didn't need to be talking to him that way, and that she needed to back off. And so at that moment, the security guard came and grabbed my daughter by the arm.
Mi hija le hizo así entre sus brazos y le dijo que no me tienes que agarrar así.
My daughter shoved his arms away and told him that you do not need to be grabbing me like that.
Y ahí fue donde el security la agarró por el pelo y por la mano y la intentó sacar del local.
And at that moment, the security guard grabbed her by her hair and her hand and tried to force her out of the building.
Y fue donde mi esposo se acercó a decirle que no tenía que agarrarla así.
And that's when my husband interfered and told him that he didn't have to be grabbing her like that.
Se acercó otra mujer, le pegó a mi hija mientras el security la tenía agarrada.
At this moment, another girl approached the area and hit my daughter while the security guard was holding her.
Y ahí fue donde todo comenzó.
And that's when things went south real fast.
Me enojé, empujé a la señora, le dije que no tenía que tocar mi hija.
I got upset. I went over to where my daughter was. I pushed the girl off of my daughter, and I told her that she didn't need to be putting her hands on my daughter like that.
La señora me abofeteó también a mí. Y ahí fue donde Chris llegó para donde nosotras y nos separó a todos.
At that moment, the girl hit me as well, and so that's when the owner of the bar approached us.
Y nos separó. Trató de tranquilizarlo todo.
At that moment, the owner of the bar approached us and started breaking up the situation and told us that this needs to be done and over with.
Nada, nos separó, se tranquilizó un poco. La señora seguía gritando, me arrancó mi cadena, peleaba porque decía que la cadena era de ella, que mi hija se la quería quedar. Entonces yo le dije a mi hija, para que no siga la discusión, dásela. No importa, aunque fuera mía, le dije, dásela para que se acabe la discusión.
At that moment, the lady continued to, after they were separated, the lady continued to argue and talk about how my daughter was trying to steal a chain, which was mine. She just ripped it off of my neck, and said that my daughter was trying to keep it for herself and steal it. And so, in order to avoid any more problems, I told my daughter that it's okay to let her keep the chain.
Mi hija se lo tiró y ahí fue donde la señora, la gente que estaba ahí, la alejó de nosotros.
At that moment, my daughter threw it at her so that she could take it, and that's when people started to separate them even further.
Chris nos dijo que vamos a sacar a tu hija afuera para que no haya más problemas, todo está bien, se pueden ir tranquilos.
That's when the owner of the bar, Chris, told us that we're going to escort all of you out so that there won't be any more problems. That way we can avoid this from escalating any further.
Nos quedamos en la puerta trasera platicando con el dueño del bar y yo le dije, mira Chris, voy a ir al VIP a ver que no se nos hayan quedado las carteras, los jackets. Y él me dijo que estaba bien, yo te llevo.
So at that moment, she's told they were escorted to the back door. While they were over towards the back door, she was talking with the owner of the bar, and telling him that she will be right back. She's going to another club across the street to make sure that.
No, el VIP del bar.
Oh, it was the VIP area of the Chris bar, and made sure that they didn't forget any of their stuff, that she'll be right back out. And so at that moment, Chris told her that he'll escort her over there. That way there won't be any more issues.
Entramos al bar yo y Chris de nuevo. Caminamos al VIP, no había nada. Ya habían limpiado todo el área, so volvimos a salir.
At that moment, her and Chris walked over to the VIP area, and they were looking for the stuff, but realized that none of their stuff was there anymore, that the area was picked up and cleaned already.
En la puerta me quedé yo, mi hija, platicando con Chris, y le estaba yo diciendo que eso nos hacía porque ya habíamos gastado hasta más de $2,000 en el bar esa noche. Cuando estoy hablando con él, escuché el primer disparo.
So at that moment, we walked out towards the back door again. It was just me and my daughter at the back door with the bar owner, and and I was telling him that stuff like that shouldn't go down. We had already spent over $2,000 over here celebrating our victory with you, and at that moment was when she heard the first gunshot go off.
Ahí fue que escuché el primer disparo. ¿Lo traduciste? Volté a mirar a la derecha y estaba mi esposo al otro lado del bar, frente de la otra puerta.
That's when the first shot went off, and I looked to my right to see my husband over by the door, by the main entrance to Chris Bar.
Miré para el otro lado y estaba mi niña a mi lado cuando escuché el segundo disparo.
I looked to my left and saw that my daughter was over at my left, and that's when I heard the second shot go off.
Chris gritó, ¿de dónde vienen? Cerró la puerta del bar y se encerró adentro y nos dejó afuera a todos.
At that moment, the owner of the bar, Chris, he asked where are the shots coming from, and closed the door and locked everybody outside of the building.
So, volví a mirar dónde estaba mi esposo y él estaba con sus manos arriba. Y en ese momento él se agachó.
I looked over towards my husband and saw that he has his hands in the air, and at that moment I saw him get on his knees.
Luego sonaron los demás disparos.
After that, we heard the rest of the shots.
Mi hermana gritó, Sol, te lo mataron. Y él comenzó a caminar a donde mí.
At that moment, she heard her sister say that, Sor, they killed him. And at that moment, she looked over at her husband and saw that he started walking towards her.
Y ahí sonaron el último disparo. Él venía para encima de mí.
At that moment, she heard the last shot as he was coming towards her.
Caminó hacia donde mí y cayó en el piso.
He walked towards me, he fell on the ground.
Y ahí me quedé con él, aguantándole su cuello, gritándole que no me dejara hasta que él cerró sus ojos.
At that moment, I held him by the neck to make sure that he wouldn't bleed out, and I begged him not to leave me. As he started to slowly close his eyes,
Me dijo que no y cerró sus ojos. Y ahí solo eran gritos de todo el mundo y gente caminando por un lado, gritando para el otro.
at that moment, he told her no, that he wasn't gonna leave, and he closed his eyes. And after that, all she heard was people screaming and panicking around her.
Y ahí estuve hasta que la policía me sacó de encima de él.
And I stayed there with him until the police pulled me off of him.
Y ahí me llevaron al hospital y en el cuarto del hospital me sedaron hasta que desperté a las 9 de la mañana.
At that moment, they took them all to the hospital, and while she was in the hospital room, they went ahead and they sedated her. And from 2 till 9 in the morning, she was sedated.
Cuando desperté, me atendió una doctora y me dijo que, ¿te acuerdas por qué viniste? Y le dije que sí, que me acordaba. Y me dijo, llegaste con un hombre al hospital, ¿quién era?
At 9, when I awakened from my sedation, a doctor approached me and she asked me if I remembered the reason as to why I was in the hospital, and if I was for certain that I could fully understand what was happening. And she said yes, that she knew why she was here. At that moment, the doctor asked her if she came here with a man and what was her relation to him.
Le dije que sí, que era mi esposo. Me preguntó el nombre. Le dije que se llama Kevin Torres. Me preguntó la fecha de nacimiento. Se la dije. Y ahí fue que me dijo que desafortunadamente no había sobrevivido. Que lo trataron de revivir en el camino y que él no se había muerto.
At that moment, she told the doctor that, yes, that's my husband, and the doctor asked her for his name and his date of birth. My mom told him his name was Kevin Torres and gave him his date of birth. At that moment, the doctor told her that he had passed away, and that on the way to the hospital, they tried to resuscitate him multiple times with no success.
Me preguntó si había un familiar esperando por mí afuera. Le dije que mi hijo. Cuando mi hijo llegó al cuarto, yo estaba llorando. Y él me dijo, oh, no pasa nada, mami. Lo operaron y se está recuperando.
At that moment, the doctor told me that I had family members waiting outside for me, and I said yes, my son should be out there. And so, once I came into the room, my mom was crying. So I told her that everything was going to be okay. The doctors had told us that he just made it out of surgery and he was recovering. They were waiting for the alcohol in his system to go down, so that to see how much of an effect everything had on him.
Yo le dije a mi hijo que no era cierto porque la doctora me había dicho que él había muerto en el camino. Y mi hijo me dijo que no, que ellos toda la noche le estuvieron diciendo que él estaba en recuperación. Hasta que le dije, pregúntale a la doctora, y la doctora le confirmó que era cierto, que él había muerto en el camino.
At that moment, I told my son that he hadn't made it, that he died, that the doctor just confirmed it with me, and if I wanted, I could go confirm it with her myself. I went to confirm it with the doctor, and she had told us that he had passed away, even though everyone else that we had asked about them told us that he was just fine, that he had just made it out of surgery.
Cuando salí del cuarto que me dieron de alta, le pregunté por la supervisora que estaba en turno, para preguntarle por qué habían tenido todas esas horas mi familia esperando noticias de su recuperación si él ya había muerto. Y ellos nos dijeron que la policía le había dicho que mintieran.
And once I received my discharge forms and I was able to leave out my hospital bed, I went ahead and I asked for the supervisor that was currently on shift and asked them why they had my family and friends outside waiting for an update on my husband when he had died on the way to the hospital. And the supervisor said that the cops told them to say that he was alive and he was about to recovering in surgery.
And I truly can't express how sorry I am to all of you. You went through that when you were there to celebrate a soccer game, a soccer victory with friends and family. And a dumb argument turned into a life-altering tragedy. I can't imagine it. And I'm so sorry. And I wanted to ask Eric, Kevin, if you had anything you wanted to add to Sorta's account. Anything else you want viewers and listeners to know about that night?
So I had gone home prior to everything happening because I live in Aberdeen and I didn't want to make the ride back up there once it was real late at night. So I was in bed asleep with my wife when I get a call at 2 a.m. from my younger sister telling me that my stepfather got shot. At that moment, I raced to put some clothes on and I raced out the door. I drove from Maryland to the from Aberdeen to the hospital that they had my stepfather in during the incident. And so I get there around 2:30 in the morning. And so as I get there, I see all our friends and our family members are outside of the hospital. And I asked them what had happened, what was going on, did we find anything out? At that moment, they told me that the doctor said that he's recovering from surgery, that they're waiting for the alcohol and in his system to go down to see how much he was affected by the bullet wounds. And so we stayed waiting, and every 30 minutes to an hour we'd ask how they were going, what they were doing, and if they had any information for us. And throughout the entire night, throughout the entire time that we were outside waiting, they just kept on telling us, your stepfather's okay, he's just made it out of surgery, he's recovering, we're waiting for him to wake up. And then they said that they had no information that they could give me on my mother. And so I stayed waiting over 7 hours for an update. At this moment, family and friends started to leave, asking for updates once we found something out. It was getting real late. They've been up all night. And since the previous day as well, considering that from the soccer tournament, most of us went straight over there to celebrate the victory. And so a lot of our friends they hadn't gotten any rest, just waiting on some type of news for him. And so 9:30 in the morning came. That's when the nurse tells me that my mother's awake, that I can go see her. And so that's when I enter the room, and my mom tells me that he's dead, and I'm over here denying it because according to what the staff prior to her have told me, that he was alive, that they were just waiting for him to recover. And so I'm relaying the same information to my mother in which that they gave me. So she's over here telling me, no, he's dead. She just told me, the doctor just told me that he passed away on the way over here from the club when when he was in the ambulance. So I go out to get my mom a cup of water. I give her the cup of water, and I go back out to ask the doctor if it was true, if my stepfather had really passed away. And the doctor confirmed it with me that he had indeed passed away.
All I want to talk about is the report, the hospital report. We had to find out not by nobody. We had to find out by Facebook, the police report. That's how we had to find out, and that's what was shocking because they didn't want to tell. They didn't want to tell. I was with her daughter at the time. That's my best friend. So we were together. We were on everybody. We were texting everybody. We were trying to figure out what's going on. Is he okay? How is he doing? Everybody's telling us that he's okay, that the doctors are saying that he's in surgery, that he's completely fine, that, he's in surgery, so he's, recovering right now. So that's what they're telling everybody. Everybody's in a parking lot waiting, still trying to figure out if he's really okay. Then we had to find out by the police report around 9:30. We find out, her daughter finds out through Facebook because she was on it. She wanted to know what was wrong with her stepfather. She wanted to know what was wrong with her stepfather. So she's scrolling on Facebook and she starts busting out crying. She starts screaming. We go into the room. She's crazy. She faints. She literally faints. She's with two of his best friends, me, and I'm just even more shocked because what had just happened, and then she faints on me. I'm just like, and I'm like, what's wrong with it? Did you just see? And she's like, she throws the phone at me, and I start reading, and that's when it says that he had deceased before he had even got to the hospital. And that to me was just shocking, and just like, why would they lie to us? Why would they lie to the family? Why would they do? Why? You feel me? We were already hurt because he was shot. That just hurt us even more because you're just giving us high hopes that he's okay, that he made it, and to find out he didn't is just like it's effed up.
It's beyond effed up, and I'm trying to contain myself because I can't imagine the cruelty of doing something like that. Of keeping an entire family waiting all night, hoping that Kevin would be okay when they knew that he had passed away on the ride over to the hospital. And you, just to confirm, you said that the staff at the hospital said that this is what the police told them to say. And I know that in local media reports, again, the information is, there's very little information, but everything that I've seen, they just keep repeating what the security guard said, that Kevin threatened him with a brick, and that justified shooting. I've seen reports that there were 6 shots fired at close range, killing Kevin. And Again, I want to thank you all for talking us through this, and I know it's incredibly hard. I wanted to ask, what's being done about this? What's being done about what the hospital did to you, what the security guard did, the club? I know there was a demonstration recently, a Latino Lives Matter demonstration. So for people watching and listening in and around Baltimore, what's happening and what can people do to support you all?
Pues realmente no están haciendo nada. Durante 3 semanas, todos los miércoles me llaman para decirme, que el fiscal que tiene caso está mirando evidencia. Está mirando evidencias.
So throughout the time that the last 3 weeks, we've been getting constant calls from lawyers and jurors saying that there's still a lot of evidence they got to go through, and as far as we know, nothing's really being done about it.
When we went to go testify, they even told us that they didn't have enough evidence to, give a warrant out for his arrest. The security guard. So they clarified that what had happened, was not enough evidence to arrest him.
So multiple eyewitnesses is not enough evidence.
Aún no solo los testigos que hay, sino también tienen las cámaras de dentro del bar. Las de afuera del bar no las dieron porque supuestamente no funcionan, pero el dealer de frente del bar dio sus cámaras. Incluso a mí me mandaron el video del dealer, que yo no lo he querido mirar, pero los que miraron el video dicen que se ve todo ahí clarito, como ni siquiera el security dejó que mi esposo se acercara ni nada, y solo le disparó.
So the Chris Bar has security cameras within the building and also on the outside of the building. So the camera footage from inside of the bar, they didn't want to turn in, and they claimed that the security cameras that are directly in front of where the incident happened, they're claiming that those security cameras don't work. And so there's a automotive shop across the street from the bar, and so they were willing to turn in the security footage that they have from a camera that's pointing directly at where the incident occurred. And in the footage was sent to us by an anonymous source, and so my mother hasn't had the courage to look at the video, but I rewatched the video several times over and over again. And so in the footage you can see that my stepfather didn't even have a chance to get anywhere near the security guard before everything just escalated so fast. And then within the security footage, you see the incident that occurred outside from start to finish. And it's incredible that the cops are saying that there isn't enough footage or evidence to go off of, when in the security footage from the automotive shop, you can clearly see what happened from the moment my stepfather got maced to the moment he got shot.
And I've kept you all long enough, and I don't want to cause any more pain. But again, I really appreciate y'all coming down and talking to us about this. And by way of ending, I wanted to ask, if there are things that people can do to support you all, to support the family, to seek justice for what happened to Kevin, and if you had any final thoughts that you wanted to share with people about how you want Kevin to be remembered, what you want people to know about him.
Estamos haciendo marchas el día 8 de diciembre. Vamos a hacer uno con Wednesday Blog, que vamos a encontrarnos ahí frente de Chris Bar, la 4020 de la East Lombard Street.
So on December 8th, we're having a march with a group called Wednesday. They've done a lot of police brutality marches in the past, And so we'll be meeting right in front of Chris Bar where the incident happened at 4020 East Lombard Street. And we'll be meeting there on the 8th
A las 6.
at 6 p.m. And so if people would like to come out, just give some support. We're also collecting signatures so that we can have the bar shut down, because this isn't the first incident that's gone down in this bar, which has caused either someone to lose their life or get severely injured by one of the security guards
The
there.
same one.
And so we're just asking people, you don't have to march with us. You can go ahead, just show up, show some support, sign the petition, and we'd really appreciate that. And the most I can say for my stepfather to be remembered was that he was a hard worker. He worked from Sunday to Saturday, from morning till night. He had opened up his own business with the help of my mother not too long ago. They're going on 3 years that it's been open now. It's a local concrete business. He's brought it up from the ground up. I've been working with him there now for a year, and so it's been awesome seeing how the company has grown, how it's gotten bigger. He was funny. He was goofy. He liked to go out, have fun with his friends. He really got into this whole soccer team management deal. He loved his soccer players. Most of them aren't even older than 25. And so he's helped out a lot of them as well. Whenever they need any type of help, he's always there to give them support, even when he barely has any to give for himself. His family, he supports them tremendously. And he was a great person. He was kind. We had some of the companies that we're associated with go out to the marches that we've had before and talk to us, tell him how much they're going to miss him, what a great guy he was. And as far as I know, my stepfather's going to be remembered for a very long time. And he was beloved by the Hispanic community, along with those that have interacted with him in the past.
Yo quisiera que lo recordaran como un buen hombre, como esposo amoroso, luchador, trabajador, buen amigo. Siempre estaba ayudando a los demás, a su familia en Honduras, a nosotros acá. Siempre lo llamaban para cualquier cosa y si no lo tenían, buscaba cómo ayudar. Realmente que su muerte no quede así. Solo yo quiero justicia y nada más.
So I would like everyone to remember my husband as the man he was. Kind, a loving husband, caring. He took care of his families both here in the U.S. and over in Honduras. I would like him to be remembered as the kind soul that he was. And so the helpful person that he was, the caring person that he was, he'd always help those around him. And the most that I would like is for there to be justice for my husband and for there to be something actually done about this. That his death won't be just something that they try to sweep under the carpet.
What I want to say, I had just met him that night, but I could tell because her daughter's my best friend. I had heard his voice and I had seen him through FaceTime a lot. And anytime she needed help with anything, he would, even though, she would probably be like the, tough one, and, he'll probably be like the more lenient one, and he'll be like, okay, I got you. And he was always there for her. And I could tell like he was a great man. The day that I met him, he shook my hand. I came back into the bar. He asked me if I was fine, if I was good. I told him I was all right. Boom. I could just tell he was a father. He was a son. He was a great man. And just by looking at him and meeting him that night, I could tell like I just wish I would have had more time to interact with him. And because by hearing and by seeing, he was a great man. And all we want is just justice for an innocent man that didn't deserve to die like that.
Sor, Eric, Kevin, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us and sharing your story and Kevin's story. We really appreciate it, and our hearts are really with you all. And for everyone watching, please do what you can to support the Torres family. We will post links to the events mentioned before that are happening in December. This is Maximilian Alvarez for the Real News Network. Before you go, please head on over to therealnews.com/support. Become a monthly sustainer of our work so we can keep bringing you important coverage and conversations just like this. Please take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for watching.